I'm going to miss that voice, I got to tell you. Okay, let's go ahead and get the screen share going on. There we go. Okay. Um, we are in October. It is our spooky October BoD meeting. October is my favorite month. It's your favorite month. So we're going to go through and do the things that we do. Uh, as mentioned in August for myself, I will not be running for the board of directors in 2025, much to the applause of probably everyone. That means I have two meetings left. I would like to take this moment to say thank you very much to Andrew back in 2022, telling me that I should run for the board of directors. There was a time when I needed a direction, and that horrible, horrible person put me in this spot. And it's been a big change for me, and I appreciate it. Andy, this is my personal thank you for all your support over the past 2 years. During the time that I've served, you've served in a multitude of positions, including the board of directors, champion, and monarch of your park, but also the Grand Duchy, and gotten the Grand Duchy off the ground. You and your wife, uh, have done a fine job for Amgard and Westmarch as a whole. So thank you for that. And if anybody has anything against anything that I've done, it's his fault. You're welcome. All right.
Accepted.
Yeah. I would like
motion to start this meeting.
I would like, thank you. Seconded. All right. Secretary, would you like to do the attendance call?
All right. The attendance call. Everyone's favorite moment. President, are you here?
That's you, Milan.
It's obvious. It's not
Oh,
obvious.
yes. Sorry. My apologies.
No problem. Vice President, can we hear you?
Yeah, I'm here.
All righty. You're down on the list. And let's see. Treasurer, are you here? I heard you earlier.
Present.
All right. All right. Secretary's here. Not me. Liaison, are you here?
I am.
All right. And Kingdom Monarch, are you here?
I am here.
All right. Kingdom Prime Minister, can we hear you?
Present.
All right, loud and proud. Amazing. I understand we have some guests here. We have our Kingdom GMR. Are you still here?
Present.
All right, got you marked there. Some guests. Dagger, are you still here?
I'm here.
All right, there's a big circle there. And then James Anderson, you got sit down. Yep.
I'm
there
here.
You go. And then you got the Royce.
Yep, I'm here.
Right. Any other guests I missed by chance if they came in the room? I don't see anyone. So the floor is yours, President.
Thank you very much for that, Secretary. I really appreciate it. I dropped everybody's name into the attendance call. As the meeting goes through, I will separate it into subsection 3 and subsection 4. I just want to get that done. We have reached out to Alan Wong asking if he can join us in the meeting. We hope that he will, because we will be talking about FOG, hopefully. I do have some updates to provide. While we are waiting, would we like to read the minutes of the last meeting, or would we like to approve them as stated?
Since Chris put in so much effort into rewriting the minutes, I think we should at least humor that effort and go over them.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Chris, thank you for putting in information. We're going to go through this together. The Westmarch BoD notes of the September 2024 meeting. Alan, or Stereotype, discussed handling and finding the definition and boundaries of alcohol for Feast of Gods event at San Lorenzo Park in King City. We are putting on a very large event, and how alcohol is handled during this event is a very important thing that we plan on Westmarch adhering to fully. The park office replied with a lot of application paperwork. More paperwork is required. We reported back to the parks and asked, what is the alcohol permit definition? We asked if we could use our own security while alcohol is being present. We asked the parks, where or where do we not consume alcohol? Park officer did provide a response. All right, so Ethan, we talked about storage and equipment plans for FOG. We talked about having to clean and repair materials, and that is the responsibility of the event steward. The expense is eligible for reimbursement within a reasonable amount. Possibly privateer our own LARP land, campground, or development. That is the dream. I request that every member of this meeting today, guests and staff, buy a lottery ticket. Trailer update. Ginger was not present, so he motioned to table to the next meeting. There will be an update in this meeting. Wildmeyer and Alex Garcia, the champion attendant of Wildmeyer, and it was both Chicken and Walrus who were there in attendance. The Wizard of Hats is the persona name. I don't know his real name, and I apologize, but he attended and announced the newest Amcard land in Fremont, which was very nice. He attended both meetings. They plan on petitioning to be a part of Westmarch one day. Westmarch food fight. We talked about representatives. We talked about where donations need to go, and if there needs to be any BoD oversight. There was none needed by us, which was great. That led us into a conversation about the accounting in Westmarch and what we need to do. We had conversation input from Royce Griffith, who is our Westmarch accountant. No take backs. Any questions about accounting goes to Royce. It is in the new Kapora. Please approve it. Moving forward, we also talked about insurance. Motion to table for the next meeting. There will be a brief update from our liaison who did some liaisoning. I don't know what QQ means, but I'm pretty sure it means I agree completely with what Milan said. I asked if there should be a weekly Kapora meeting and individuals such as Frankie Demento, who has been working with the Kapora for quite some time, and our monarchy said that probably wasn't necessary, but we do have a goal to get more engagement. There was a conversation of director and officer insurance again. That will be an update from our liaison as well. That is our secretary's notes. I request to approve them as read.
Seconded.
Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, we're going to move on to the October agenda. I have not gotten a message from Alan. I know Alan has been very busy. I had the opportunity to speak to him not only yesterday, but also the day before. So I would have a little bit of update. And I'm going to bring this over here. If you can't read it, please let me know. Oh, Royce, quick question. Go for it. Sorry.
No, it's not. It's a crying face.
Oh, I got it. Deal with it. Anyways, let's see here. Okay, here we go. If you can't read this, let me know, but I'm going to try and read through this as much as I can. Minimize this and hopefully get it on the screen better. All right, so there is a graphic in here somewhere. Trying to find it. Is this it? Okay, I'm going to bring up this graphic. Oh, here it is. Perfect. Everybody here may be at least slightly familiar with San Lorenzo Park. The Dianza building is right here. That's often where we hold court. The youth overnight area is that bowl that's kind of full of sand. Most people camp around the bowl from essentially the Dianza building all the way around to where the battle games are held. These picnic and gazebo areas are public and aren't reservable through what we normally reserve. The red areas is what we reserve. There is plenty of parking, and we do not have to do anything with parking at this point in time. The catch here, and I'm going to scroll up. Alcohol is not allowed in the youth overnight area. The conversation that Alan has had with San Lorenzo County Park is this area in the red is the youth overnight area, which is where we all camp. It's also the bowl. It's also part of the battle games. So the response that we've received, and we are asking for clarification, and this is where I am not fully qualified to have this conversation. I'm providing this information as soon as I possibly can to the people that deserve to know and need to know, because we want to keep everything updated as best we can. It's possible that right now, I'm just getting a message from Ellen, so hopefully I'll be able to not have to talk, but this area is a no alcohol area. So what we will say is we're going to post signs. Alan is not free until 7:15, so he may show up in a little bit, and we'll come back to this. I will cease this conversation by simply saying it's possible that Westmarch will post signs in the youth overnight area saying alcohol consumption and distribution prohibited in this area. And we will ask individuals, if we see them with alcohol, to put it away. Obviously, there are many individuals who have been attending the San Lorenzo County Park events for years. They have intimate and personal relationships with the Rangers. What we need to say is that we intend upon complying with this situation. Athena, please take it away.
So based on what you were saying, I just want to make sure I understand. So not only the BoD that we typically associate with the youth area, but everywhere that people currently camp is now going to be no alcohol. I can see us maybe working around that. If so, like everybody go drink in the parking lot. But is that the case? Is that what you're saying?
I want to
think
be
Stereo will have a better update from us if we want to table
Okay.
this until then.
Yes, let's go ahead and table this until then, but the conversation from last night, which does need to be brought up, because there's no reason in hiding this type of stuff. Feast of Gods is so close that we need to have the minds involved with these wheels spinning, and we want to comply with the request. The information from last night was this is the youth overnight no drinking area. And Alan followed up today with, is the gray the youth overnight area and the green is not? That's where we are at. The conversation that he had was right here. Alcohol is not allowed in this area. Alcohol is not to be consumed in this area. It can be consumed at the Dianza building, which we knew from our last BoD meeting. If alcohol is conserved, there's a permit required. If alcohol is served and or consumed during an event, the permit is required. We do not need insurance. I'm sorry. We do not need security if we are not serving alcohol. So Westmarch will not be serving alcohol. No Westmarch individual who is representing Westmarch will be serving alcohol. Read into that however you wish. Does anybody have any questions? Do they want to talk about this at the moment, or do we want to hope Alan logs on at 7:15?
Let's see if we can get Alan by the end of the meeting. So I say we just push this till either Alan arrives or the end of the meeting, and then we go back to it.
Perfect. That's the
If-
primary. We did get our insurance. The insurance is taken care of. We have not paid for the site yet because the individual that Alan is working with is still completing and requesting paperwork. He hopefully will have an update. We're gonna
Every time.
yes.
That's wild. Anyway,
We
It is actually
we
every
start
time.
months in advance, and it's always 2 weeks before the event. Being like, oh yeah, we're still doing paperwork. Like, guys,
And this is why we always have to pay the convenience fee for a credit card.
Yes.
So
Okay.
follow-up question.
Yeah.
Should another organization that happens to be there at the same time, such as Red Dragon, choose to go for this permitting, is that something that Westmarch might support them in?
Westmarch has no idea what Red Dragon is. If
Ah.
Westmarch, if Red Dragon chooses to operate and do their own thing, that is not under the purview or guise of Westmarch whatsoever.
Okay.
and if they purchase a one-night reservation on the those campsites right across, drinking with family and friends is permitted without a permit at those locations.
And if
Interesting.
an organization such as a guild or household requested after the event for reimbursement for a AMP card related event that they chose to do, then the monarchy could choose to review that enforcement request. But as far as Westmarch and Feast of Gods is concerned, if there's a red dragon, it's probably a household. I don't know what they do. I just know that Westmarch does not condone or support the serving of alcohol at the event under the name of Westmarch. And with that, we're going to hopefully hear from Alan at 7:15 or perhaps a little bit later. Is everybody okay if we move on? Wonderful. Athena,
Yes.
I want to tell you that I apologize profusely that I cannot answer your questions properly. I don't have the information, and I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
I
you're
would love to
fine.
answer it. I would love to answer it better. I just don't have the intel.
I am outspoken enough to ask again when relevant.
Oh, please do, because to be honest, this is information that we should have and we should answer. And to Ethan's accurate statement, these are answers we should have had in May for our event in October. That is not Alan's fault. That is not my fault. That is not anybody's fault. It's possibly San Lorenzo's fault. So I'll just say that. All right. Trailer final update. Who has access to the Westmarch email address, and have we gotten an iPostal notification?
We have not.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I received notification from Ginger that she has submitted the information to the DMV. We have screenshots which have been shared in the Westmarch BoD Drive and with the Monarchy that we do have the temporary license. We should be getting an official permanent title. Ginger did submit a reimbursement request. That is between the Prime Minister and Ginger on the reimbursement, obviously, but the price seemed pretty reasonable. So the trailer, if it is being brought to Feast of the Gods, is under Westmarch's name. We do not have insurance on it. The individual who is towing the vehicle must have insurance and must have a vehicle capable of towing the trailer. The people that are, thank you, Royce. Red Dragon is a private group not endorsed by Westmarch. That's what I wanted to say. Anyways, back to the thing there. Yeah, so an individual that is towing the trailer should have insurance on the vehicle, which would cover the trailer. Many insurance policies do cover that, but that's a question we should ask anybody who is towing the trailer. That is not a BoD overview. That is a monarchy. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the trailer or anything of that nature?
No question.
Thank you.
Motion to close this topic.
I will second it, but I will say initially that I hope that in 2025, individuals do start fundraisers using the trailer. I think it would be a very good idea to fundraise for what the license plate will say, what logo you might want to put on the trailer. If anybody has a heraldry or device that they want to put on the trailer as a sticker, sure, there's a cost though.
Whoa, a device? This isn't the SCA. We don't go into that detail of blazonry and devices.
Some people do. Anyways, okay. We are moving on from the trailer. I do hope.
I only put a picture in the heraldry thread. You're the one who started off listing out the nomenclature.
My sincerest apologies. All right.
We don't want to put one of those advertisements on there electronically.
I think the zombie prevention team should absolutely put an advertisement on the trailer. All right. Elizabeth, you are in the meeting. I believe you have questions about Wildmire.
Honestly, most of it can probably be answered in a monarchy chat, so I apologize for that. But I did receive a contract, and it looks like the contract from Wildmire needs some signatures. Is that just a monarchy signature stuff, or is that more BoD signature stuff?
Yes. They need a bunch of signatures from the BoD and the monarchy.
Cool. What do I do with that?
And if you send it to me, I can send it via Adobe Echo Sign to everybody that needs to sign it in one fell swoop. That's something I do have access to and can do. If somebody else would like to take over it, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. It was sent to me as a JPEG. Does that work? Or do I need to download it as something else?
No, I can, as long as it's legible.
Okay. Then I can work with that. I think that's it for
No,
the
sorry. We need
wildfire
to
stuff.
repeatedly mail it around to every individual and have them wet ink it.
Please, the KPM stuff,
No.
CFO stuff with Wells Fargo was not fun. Let's not do that again.
So yeah, if you want, please feel free to send it to me, and I will go ahead and send it to the individuals that need to sign it. I can add signatures to it. I got all the stuff.
Okay, I will send that over to you right now then.
I'd like to casually mention that Royce brought up a very interesting point. Royce, you can talk, you know. We should put a QR code for Westmarch on it. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, I think that should be done. I'm looking at the contract. This is easy to take care of. I can get this sent out, and I will in the BoD chat say, hey, what addresses do I need to send it to? Very easy to do.
Okay.
All right, Liz, would you like to talk about the next one?
Oh, okay. I also got pinged from somebody about Namir Sanctum and if they are fully done with being marked as defunct and everything. I received James actually received their cash already and went ahead and marked that in the ledger. Is there anything else I'm supposed to do to make sure Namir Sanctum is all wrapped up in a bow?
So you don't have to do anything. Back in June, the board of directors voted to pull their contract, which kills them. Like they do not exist as an entity.
Every member is dead.
Rude.
No, they all got transferred to the nearby park of their choice.
Okay, and then yeah, I guess I don't need to say anything else about Namir Sanctum. I just want to check in to make sure there was nothing else I was supposed to do.
No, we've already marked them in the orc and everything, which would be like the primary thing that the PM would do, and collect the cash, and all of that's been done. So
cool beans. And then the same individual also asked me about the Westmarch address, and is that just a PO box that we have, or is that the one on all of our Wells Fargo paperwork?
I'm sorry, say again.
Does Westmarch have a PO box, or is it just the address that's listed on the Wells Fargo paperwork?
There's a PO box.
Okay, I'll find it. Thank you.
Hold on. It doesn't look like a PO box though. It is the address that is in Oceanside. It's an iPostal address. It does not say PO box.
Yeah, it's actually a Staples.
It's an iPostal.
Yeah, it's definitely Staples.
So more specifically to kind of explain what's going on is all of our mail, because we constantly are switching our monarchy, all of our mail is picked up by this company called iPostal, and then we can have it scanned and emailed to us, like the actual physical thing, or we can have it transferred to be picked up somewhere.
Okay.
Physically.
We pay $90.
Is that the one on Fredericks?
No, that's the physical address. It is on Vista Way, I believe it is.
Oh, Vista Way. There it is. Found it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're supposed to email us every time they get a new piece of mail, and then we figure out how we want to receive it. So.
Oh.
And it costs us like $2 to get the physical mail.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, that was all I had. I'm good.
Okay.
Also,
all right.
The location is literally on the way home from work for me, so it's not terrible.
So what are we gonna do when Dragonville splits out?
Choose a different address.
Probably change the address.
Oh no.
Logging into the iPostal account is something that is reasonably easy to do. And from previous access to the iPostal account, it was easy to change the address as well. And it's I think it's $99 a year. It was the same price as having a PO box. And it's $2 per item, if memory serves, to get an actual item. And they deliver it to, like Andy accurately stated, a Staples in your area. Awesome. Okay, motion to move past Wildmire. We have a
Second.
seconded. Thank you. And then motion to move past Mir's sanctum.
Second.
Second.
Triple.
All right, so Namir's sanctum is
Closed.
already
Close Nemer Sanctum and table Wildmeyer.
okay. Perfect. I'll get all that emailed out. I will say that tomorrow I am going to Great Western War, so I will not be able to email it out tomorrow. I will email it out Monday. So expect it to be out Monday. Alan is here. Now that we've closed option 4. Oh my goodness, Athena, I hope you're okay. Please type in any questions that you might have. Alan is now in the meeting. I'd like to motion to go back to section 1, please.
Agreed.
I have a second. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to add Alan to guest in attendance. Alan, you probably just got off of work, or maybe you're still at work. Can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah, I'm off work. So
is now an okay time to speak, or do you need some time?
if you need my camera on, you'll have to give me a second. But if you don't care, then I can just speak now.
No, I think we have a couple questions, and obviously you may have some updates. I did talk briefly about the update with the potential alcohol policy of no alcohol in the youth area, and how the youth area may encompass everywhere that we normally camp. We talked about how the Red Dragon is a private group that is not affiliated with Westmarch, and that I'm going to let you take it over if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. So in order not to be seen as Westmarch serving alcohol, I have privately asked the person in charge of the Red Dragon to not make any posts regarding to alcohol, and to basically, if they want to keep going, they can serve non-alcoholic beverages. Excuse me one second. The reason is because even though they can still exist, we can buy this alcohol drinking policy. We can drink alcohol in the Deanza building, but it's only for beer and wine only. No other types of alcohol. Donna did mention in the email that this has never been asked for in the past, so this is something that's kind of like new that's been brought up to them. And so I haven't sent the email to them yet, but I'm going to call them tomorrow as soon as I send my follow-up email with the rest of the information that she requires to clarify on, the grass area that normally people sleep on. And I think that having security for one night will tack on an extra, because we would need probably 2 guards. I'm assuming it's going to be around 180 people, so probably 2 guards and a supervisor. That's going to be probably quite expensive. She kind of estimated like, $100 to $500 depending on how many people we need. We cannot use our own security. It has to be through the county. She can request special permission for us to use our own security company, but in her email specifically, she said that attendees may not be security. What else do we go over? Let me see. Let me open my email from her.
What was the estimated cost one more time?
She said something around like $100 to $500
per day or per event?
She didn't specify.
Okay.
Plus, we're only allowed to drink beer and wine technically only.
Yeah, so that wouldn't.
So
anyway.
So I figure there's no point.
So I'm actually
Alan,
slightly.
If I can make a brief announcement, I'm very sorry about that. 1 security guard is required for every 50 attendees, and 1 supervisor is required for every 100 attendees. So we're looking at a minimum of 3 individuals. The fee could range from $150 to $500, depending upon how many attendees you have and the hours alcohol is served. Honestly, because we're probably looking at 180 people, please everyone come to Feast of the Gods. Literally, like, come, buy your ticket and come. we're looking at $1,000. That's the real statement there.
So, I mean, yeah. So at this point, I'm gonna buy the permit just to say we have the permit, and then whatever people do with their own time and their own money, that is on them.
Particularly at the private campgrounds across the way that do not require permits for drinking between family and friends.
Yes, so I was going to ask her about how much it would cost, because typically I think the reason why we've gotten the youth overnight area in general is because of the field and the ease of access to the field in the for all the events previously. If we were to get campgrounds, then we would have to get the campgrounds across the street and the youth overnight area, because we would require the fields. And I don't know if we can rent the fields separately. That's the other thing. But that's like a future question kind of deal, not really a now situation. But yeah. So
I thought when we reread the policy as written by the County of Monterey last BoD meeting that they had actually updated and removed the exact wording about alcohol being beer and wine only. Did they reverse that stance again?
I don't know. This is just a quote from Donna. So we would have to ask her about that. Because she says hard liquor is not allowed per county ordinance 14.12.
Yeah, and that's the one we looked up. It specifically says it's beer and wine for like all of these parks, and San Lorenzo is not one of those parks. We pulled that last time.
I mean, I think we're just kind of
yeah.
at this point arguing semantics.
It doesn't really matter, I guess. But
yeah.
it's interesting. What's reading to me is even they're still trying to figure this out.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to get at is at the end is I'm asking the BoD is how do you want to approach this going forward? Because I've also heard separate information from a previous event that was just held recently, that the Bellegarde had, and they were treated differently.
Oh, really? How were they treated?
I cannot say, and
to my knowledge, PR had no issues.
Yeah, this is out of quote. This is just rumor mill in here, but that's why I'm asking, because they apparently they just went to the parks people and they said they would have alcohol in their own security and they were okay with that, which is not what we were told. We were told that we needed a permit. So
okay.
Moving forward, yeah. So like moving forward, I'm asking the BoD, how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to approach this as we're going to keep this bridge, or do you want me to start burning bridges? Because
as of this point in time, as the president of the board of directors, I'm going to make a very simple statement that what we need to do is we need to post signs saying you cannot be in possession of alcohol in the open, and Westmarch does not support or condone the distribution or serving of alcohol. If we play by their games, then we can say we're in compliance.
Okay. That was my plan too, was just we're posting signs. I already made the announcement that people caught with alcohol in the youth area will be asked to put away. There's a 3-strike rule. I feel that is very fair, and like I said, what other people do with their time and money, that's not my concern.
We can drink at the De Anza building. I think Westmarch has a wonderful history of having wonderful beverage containers to hold their beer or wine or soda or water.
Yes, they told them they had security, notified what channel security be using, then they donated any leftover booze to the guy and his crew. This is what I've been told. And while upsetting that is, we were told we needed a permit, which then caused this whole chain of actions to happen, which now I need, because then I had to talk to the parks department. Now the parks department's like, what's going on? Like, you guys have never asked for an alcohol permit.
They were literally the ones who came to us and asked us for one. Okay.
Well, I don't think the parks department and the rangers talk to each other. That's my thing. That's my assumption here, but it is only an assumption. So tomorrow, I mean, I'm glad I kind of waited because tomorrow I'm going to call her. So if we have any additional questions we're going to ask, like because I did ask her in an email, like I asked if the grass area right outside the area count, and she said it does. Part of the grass does count as the youth area. But
Which
we're
is
So
where
not,
basically,
we
we're
all-
caught in the
yeah.
middle of a turf war between the Rangers and the Parks Department. That's fun.
so, and I don't know why Bellegarth was treated, like, oh, maybe they misled him because, like I said, per county, per the Parks Department, we cannot have our own security. But clearly, otherwise, the Bellegarth has been told, they were kind of like waved off. And I don't want to necessarily out Bellegarth saying like, well, they got away with this and this, So that's why I'm asking, from the BoD, how do you want me to approach this?
So
you guys
my-
continue talking. I have to step away for a couple seconds. I'm very sorry.
You mentioned about burning bridges. I don't think we should burn a bridge yet.
Yeah.
But start gathering matches.
Yeah, because I don't know. I know we're looking for other, I know we're looking for other parks, but I'm not going to start mentioning that like, hey, or we're not, our group is not very happy with the way, our event has been treated. We might consider looking for other parks. I'm not going to start saying that out of nowhere.
Is
Yeah,
it
I've got a
possible?
question.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna ask real quick if Sebastian, do we have any good results from the survey we put out specifically about alcohol? Because if we're getting a minority of attendees who actually care about the alcohol, then it's not that big a deal. But if we have like 90% attendees desperately want alcohol, then that changes this conversation.
Give me a second.
As a
Let's-
follow-up to that, what's the engagement on the survey?
We have 103 responses, which is actually pretty good because that's about a third of our active kingdom and about as many voting members as we have. So we have 15% that are okay. So like 8% are required to, say that it's required for them to attend. 15% say it's strongly preferred. About a third say they prefer it, but it's not required. Then we have a big old chunk of about a third that are neutral. And then in total, there's about a third or so that's just they dislike alcohol or are skipping the
let's
question.
Call it a quarter that like would be unlikely to attend FOG if there was no alcohol allowed.
I don't know why I'm making this hard. I can just. There you go. When Zoom uploads it, there's the photo of the pie chart.
Yeah. Remember, the only reason I'm asking of this, remember, because I think of myself as a representative. I'm not going to make decisions, talking to Parks Department without, some sort of go ahead from the BoD.
So I think what Milan said earlier was correct. At this point, kind of stay the course. We don't want to jeopardize the event, 2 weeks out
Yeah.
and like have them pull the, they haven't even finished
Yeah.
filing the paperwork. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I think most likely what's happened here is it sounds like a policy was updated. Some of the rangers either got new training or were notified or something like that. And, effectively at Dark Shore, one of those rangers popped by and let us know. It sounds like that hasn't happened to Bell. And so what they did is sounds like they went to the county parks department and were like, hey, we have this. And they're like, cool, you went above and beyond what we thought what you needed. Thumbs up for you, continue. Whereas like we actually dove in and investigated and was like, oh, okay, what are the rules now we have to comply with? So I think it's just that the information is being rolled out slowly. And as Ben was saying, like the Rangers have gotten different training than the Parks Department, and the Parks Department is playing a bit of catch up at this point.
We could always ask the park rangers for clarification on their thing on the alcohol, because the county code says exactly what you thought, Sebastian, and that alcohol is defined as X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, because they were told that bringing your own alcohol is not serving from the park rangers. But the Parks Department says that and I have it in the email. I've sent it to the Westmarch, the email, that at least the secretary said that, bringing your own alcohol is considered serving. And that's what kind of like made us dig deeper, because we're like, okay, well, that doesn't sound right. But if it's per your park policy, like can't say otherwise. Like can't really
Yeah.
argue. At that point, because like, well, like, families bring beer. Are they serving alcohol? I mean, I guess so. So I just think overall, I think we just need to post our policy, and just, say we're doing all we can to prevent alcohol from being out in the open in the youth area, and we will tell anyone otherwise that they need to put it away or dump it, something like that. We'll post signs. That's what I'll talk to Dawn about tomorrow, and I'll further clarify, all the questions that we had, because so far it's just been email communication, and we will buy the alcohol permit, which is only $40.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move, just as a CYA of like, we do have a permit, we just misunderstood something or whatever. Like,
Yes.
it might buy us something.
Yeah. So whatever, if the Rangers come up and it's like, you guys can't drink, you don't have a permit, we're like, well, we have a permit. Like, this is from the Parks Department, so I don't know what you want from us.
We
So
have a permit and we also have insurance, and we are within the limit of the requirements of the park by consuming beer or wine. No alcohol by your tent. We can't go around that. Drink at the Deanza building. That's where everybody drinks anyway. This is a recording call.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get the idea.
Get a definition of what they define as beer and wine, because from a brewing standpoint, it's very different from what gets sold as beer and wine.
That is true, but they're not going to be testing alcohol.
Yeah.
They're not going to go around dropping in.
I think the more we fight on semantics of definition, the more they're going to push back. And I'd rather just us get this event over and done with without any.
If this
pushback
was
from-
6 months ahead of time, I would say like, no, we're going to go over the details. We're going to hammer it out. At this point, if we haven't even paid for the site, like that's number one priority.
I'm trying to get this permit rolled out.
When we're on site, all of us have attended at least one dark shore, and interaction with the Rangers really comes down to, are you taking care of your own? And that's what's important here. Obviously, Westmarch intends upon complying fully to every extent of the law. And what we're going to do is just make sure that we're taking care of our own so we don't cause the Rangers or the county of Monterey any issues. That's the primary goal.
Yeah, I agree. So I think, so moving forward, when I talk with Donna, I will not mention any of the other things that have been happening, in regards to how differently we were treated. And kind of just get this permit, get whatever she needs, get the permit rolling, pay for the site, and then we can talk about this after the event moving forward.
Agreed. We're going to do everything we can at this point to not jeopardize the event. It's just too close to cause.
Yeah, she's willing to just give us the permit. I'm down for that. I just wanted to make sure to answer everyone's questions as the messenger.
So
thank you very much for handling all this, by the way.
Yeah.
Anything non-alcohol from the event?
We have the insurance policy. We're good there. Thank you very much, Alan, for taking care of that. We just need the site paid for. Alan, when is the site going to be paid for, in your opinion?
I'm gonna try to get her stuff tonight, and then call her tomorrow, and then hopefully she'll give us a quote, and then we can get paid by next week.
What does it mean when it says no camping in the youth area announced?
No
Sorry.
Camping or no alcohol?
It says camping on the agenda.
It does. Oh, on the.
Where I'm looking.
Oh, it's like halfway down your bullet points there.
Oh, no, yes, that was questions we needed to ask. These are questions that we needed to ask last time that we sent to Alan. And it was
if it's strictly the bowl, nobody camps in the bowl.
No one really camps in the youth area anymore. Everyone camps outside of the youth area. Everyone camps on the grass, basically.
Although the new map says that the grass potentially is part of the youth area. Is that correct, Alan?
Yep.
Yeah. And when you speak with them tomorrow, can you further request clarification on that, please?
She mentioned that I should talk to the park rangers about that. So I don't think I'm going to push her on it. I'll just ask the park rangers what do they consider a youth area, and then
That's a very good plan strategy, actually. I like that. Leave it to the people that are actually boots on the ground.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
whatever questions these are answered, I'm not really going to press her on. I'm basically just going to clarify like what we're doing and everything, and then hopefully move on from there. Get the permit rolling. Because I've already sent her the rest of the other paperwork that she needed. So it's just like it's just the site plan, the site map, and then the insurance needs to be sent to her. Okay, was there any other questions about fog? I can also update you on prepay attendance or
Yes.
I would love that.
I
That'd
want
be
to know
great.
how many people have bought tickets. Yes.
okay, let me take a look.
And
I have
food prepay has closed, or is it still open?
so the prepay so what I'm doing basically is you can still prepay for $55. All meals are included. There's no meal ticket this year. I've talked this over with the Feastocrat. And so what I'm doing, prepay for the early prepay for the $55 is ending Friday. It's going to be raised to $65 moving forward. Day trip and children's fees are staying the same. There are no more VIPs. We sold out of VIPs instantly. So all of the VIP stuff has been done and everything. As of right now, I have 72 attendees, which leads us to around $4,420 in attendance fees.
For myself, I don't know if I've actually bought tickets yet. I don't think I have, but I need to buy 2 tickets. Please, everybody, post on your Discord or your Westmarch forums or anything. Get people to come to this event. We need to get to about 160 people.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the prepay number? I got distracted by another thing.
We have
55.
72.
$55.
Oh,
sorry.
It's $55 for early prepay, and then moving forward on Friday, I'm going to end that. It's going to go up to $65.
Yeah, and you said that you have 72 people signed up so far.
Yes.
Is that including the VIPs? I'm guessing it is.
Yes,
but...
including the VIPs. Yeah, and so
that's actually about average for what we get. We get about half the people who pay at site. So.
Yeah. So our current gate gate fee, I guess our total gate amount is $4,420.
Is there somewhere a person can look up if they've already bought one?
That I do not know. I can tell you though.
Message somebody on the IT team later.
Yeah.
And we can look it up, I believe.
Yeah, I can look it up through the orders to see if you prepaid, but I've entered everyone so far that's signed in. Or I've entered everyone on the sign-in sheet.
You probably also got a receipt when you paid.
Yeah. So I can look up anybody's name right now. If they need it, so they can message me.
I'm going to buy a ticket right now, and we'll see exactly what happens.
I did it last night. I did get at least one email receipt about it. I think I got 2 because one came from my credit card or whatever I paid with.
Yeah, and on the Westmarch Gmail, we receive a email for every PayPal payment. So I can see here that Talon Finpack paid.
Anybody who's on the IT team, there is no Reeve on the class. So go ahead and get that fixed, please.
That's not me.
All right,
at one point, there was 2 paladins, so it was like, we're getting there.
Why are you picking Reeve? You don't have to play the class to get the credit now.
Some people just like to level Reeve.
That's fair.
Because it's seen as, a thing towards Walker in the Middle. Some kingdoms actually require X level in Reeve to become Walker in the Middle.
Yeah. I can look up anybody's name because like I said, I've entered everyone into the
All right, so you get an
cheat
email
codes.
confirmation from PayPal.
Yep.
There we go. And I just got it. It comes from Westmarch Events. I'll toss this over here so everybody can see it. Send people to the YouTube channel Westmarch BoD if they want to see this. But here you go. Your order at Westmarch Events. Blah 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 blah. Has information. There you go. Really well done to the David Zucker and the IT team. This is using the CAM card side. I know we've wanted to do that for a while. It's just so, it's so
And
nice.
and the Westmarch email just got the confirmation that you in fact did pay.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So now we know that it's very fast. It's very seamless. There was no lag or anything. That was really easy. Great. Hopefully we use that moving forward. And it saves us from using a third party and paying those third party fees that we were paying in 2023, which so great. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Alan? He's a very busy individual who just got off work, and I know the past 3 nights he's been working on fog stuff, and he'll be working on fog stuff for the next 3 nights. Anything you want to tout or talk about or say thanks to?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Who's
want to
doing
say
your
thanks.
battle?
Oh,
doing your
I'm,
battle games?
I want to say thanks to my entire team. Everyone's been great so far. Also thanks to you, Milan, for helping me out. I know we've had a couple calls and Monkey's been great. Monkey and Vorik are my battle game team. They've been working very, very, very hard on creating some interesting battle games. We're going to be using part of the bowl actually as our terrain. If you want like a
Don't
sneak
drink there.
peek, yeah, don't drink there. If you want like a sneak peek, we've posted some of the battle game rules and everything. I think they're going to make an announcement tonight. A little heads up for you guys that we're going to be trying the new rules. I think the playtest rules. So they're going to make an announcement saying I think all of their games are going to be using the new playtest rules unless something goes awry. So I think this is good. Give everyone a big enough heads up to try new stuff out.
I'm
Fog
pretty
games.
sure that would have been mandatory anyway. I think the rule book is going to be out before then.
Oh well,
I mean,
that
it's
works.
good. At least at the very least, we know that everybody's aligned on that. So
Yeah.
yay.
So yeah, I'm making sure, I'm making sure they're announcing everything, any changes we make, we're announcing. The fog games look great. If you want to like a sneak peek of that, I have ordered a giant soccer ball.
What?
So yeah, you look forward to that. Yeah, I've ordered and all this stuff is going to go to the Westmarch trailer, by the way. So we'll have a lot of cool stuff and props. I have a quest team that's working very hard on creating quests for people to play and work on. That's from QNR from Wavehaven. He's also buying a bunch of props too. Like I said, everything's going to go into that Westmarch trailer for us to use in the future. Yeah, and the feast, we're starting to acquire all the goods for the feasts. Look forward to that. We've already tested the noodle bar. Basically, we're making like a we're making like a almost like a pho type thing where you kind of put your whatever desired meats, veggies, and we have hot soup and noodles, and then we have a barbecue and grilled veggies we're working on. So everything's looking really good. Everything, yeah. So other than the only hiccup is this alcohol thing. But yeah, a lot of cool battle games. I have to say, very jealous.
Well, hopefully you get to play in them.
Maybe we'll see. I'll be helping out the feast team a lot too. So, but yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna keep making more update posts, try to get more people hyped up. I think this is going to be a really fun event. So,
Love it. Awesome. One thing that I liked last time, actually, and James might be able to speak to this briefly, the Bardic. I thought the Bardic was a lot of fun. I believe it was Saturday night after court. And I thought it was really neat how many people actually participated in the Bardic. Some people that you're like, oh, we're going to do a Bardic, and they had something prepared. And we had people that prepared and presented entire, I can't even think the right phrase for it, but parts from Shakespearean plays with multiple actors in costume.
I that does remind me, I do need to make a post about it. We are gonna have another Bardic Friday night that's gonna be run by Clanaw, because Saturday is the nighting. So I made Friday night the Bardic time. Plus, we're also gonna have some ANS classes as well, run by Clanaw and Mama. So I also have to make update posts about that, like let people know what's going on. And then yeah, there's just a lot going on this fog. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the nightings, and that'll be really wonderful. If you have award announcements, get them into our award requests, get them into the org.
Yes,
if
because
you
I
have
will be
people,
processing them tomorrow, I think is my plan. So get them in quick.
Yeah.
get them into
'Cause
the
I-
org
I-
tonight. Make your posts on Discord, everybody. Make your posts on Facebook. Get the information out. That will also
the preferred
entice-
locations are the orc and the feedback form that we have on our Facebook page.
of course, but
It's a
announce
Google
to
form.
your parks that you should enter on the org. I apologize for not saying that clearly. But that will also encourage people to get involved and want to attend the event. Okay. Does anybody have anything else for Alan before we move on from agenda item 1? You're muted, Ethan.
I was going to say thank you very much for handling all this, Alan.
Yeah, no problem.
Alan, once again proving that it's possible that San Lorenzo may be slow on responding to requests that I personally saw Alan submit in May and June.
Yep. It is what it is. So they're working on it, and hopefully we'll get everything done and paid for. So even
Perfect.
if I have to personally deliver the check, so we'll see.
Motion to move on from October agenda 1.
Second.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alan. Please feel free to stick around if you wish. Otherwise, go enjoy a well-deserved respite.
Thank you. I'm gonna go work on the fog stuff right now. So I'll catch you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, I'm going to ask our liaison to talk about director and officer insurance. I believe he has a small update.
I do. I procrastinated this, but this morning I reached out to Affinity Nonprofits. And one of the things they do is D&O insurance for nonprofits. And I received a response. Thanks for reaching out. Based on the nature of operations of the organization, unfortunately, we won't be able to assist with D&O insurance at this time. And having looked at other places, one of the things that they always ask for is basically like the nature of the organization. And so you scroll through the drop-down list of the different categories of corporations and such, and AmpGuard really doesn't fit in any of them. And most of the D&O stuff that I see focuses on employee issues, employment discrimination and such. So it may be difficult to find. I would potentially encourage those interested in obtaining directors and officers insurance to get a quote, get an estimate, and then bring it back here to the board to evaluate further.
Question for you, just because we are in a specific meeting, and that is, does any other AmpGuard kingdom have director and or officer insurance currently?
Not to my knowledge. I'm going to partially rely on Ethan's review of all the Kingdom Corporas in that, where I don't think so. And also,
Several
back
corporas actually have officer insurance.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So, as I
so
say, I'm
the
like, I'm
big
pretty
thing
sure
is
iBot doesn't.
It's in the 9 Blades Corpora, and then a lot, like 3 or 4 kingdoms basically copy and pasted the 9 Blades Corpora and then like updated it. So if you go look at the 9 Blades Corpora, There's the one that's the most.
Okay, I can also reach out
Forward.
to the Nine Blades Monarchy / BOD and
Yeah.
see what they say.
So
If
it's
I'm not
actually under
mistaken, Nine Blades is in
310.2 in their Kapora.
Canada? No, never mind. That's
Yeah,
13
they
minutes.
cover apart. But the Kingdom Chancellor, you use the power. If the Kingdom Chancellor uses this power, they reduce the Kingdom Treasury. Let's see. So they keep $3,500. It's in their Kapora that they keep $3,500 in reserve at all times to pay for the liability insurance, the kingdom fees, and a little bit of a buffer, like constantly. And then under 8.2 in their Kapora, they talk about their obligations. And the way they handle it is, depending on the size of the land, you owe a percentage of the overall kingdom's insurance. So whatever the kingdom's insurance is that year, 10%. If you're a shire, you owe 10%. If you're a barony, you owe 20%. And if you're a duchy, you owe 30%. And that's how they cover their fees every year. It's just like they have their standard membership fees, and then every land has basically a tithe to just cover the insurance. And I believe when I talked to somebody, they said the actual insurance was closer to like $1,800. You know,
Per year?
Yeah. But that was a side conversation that somebody gave me, and
Yeah.
So they could be very off.
That does track somewhat with some of the boilerplate costs that I was able to find online that said something to the effect of $1,200 and up. Yeah, I was just assuming that given not many kingdoms contributed all that much to the IBOD defense, that other kingdoms didn't have enough money to potentially consider issues with money enough to get insurance. So I think the questions for those interested in direct D&O insurance is, how much coverage do you want? What do you want the limits to be? And how much is reasonable to pay per year for that? In my opinion, 1,800 is high given our rather low liability risk, in my opinion.
Agreed.
This would primarily be, I would think, not even for the BOD. I think it would be more so against the monarchy and their involvement in bans, from what I gather, is like, what actions or potential actions do we need protection against? What is the likely costs of that? And how much are we willing to pay to avoid those costs?
I think when we are talking about director and officer insurance, I want to bring up just a small point that I was thinking about earlier today. Ben's been doing a lot of work on this, by the way. This hasn't been like just a one-day thing. Ben was kind enough to reach out a couple times over the past week about this. So thank you for putting in the effort, Ben. It's really appreciated. 2 years ago, the BOD did XYZ. And XYZ may have been a little bit different than what the BOD does now. In the past couple of years, we've gotten a digital smart waiver. We have gotten a digital post office box. We bought a trailer. We pushed to become a 501c3, which may eventually happen. At the end of the day, Amp Guard is a group of individuals that meets in a park and swings foam sticks at each other. There's going to come a time when somebody's going to say, why are we growing? What is the value in this? That sort of thing. I'm on board with director and officer insurance. It makes sense. It absolutely does, because everyone here is a volunteer, and every single person in this meeting, especially Frankie, especially Alex, who hasn't spoken to this meeting, but I know the work that GMRs have to do, unfortunately. And Chris has driven up and down the state, and Paul Wilkins before Chris drove up and down the state. They do this for free. they don't get reimbursed. And you get people who complain and cause those people issues. And so we need to be able to protect them. And that's why we need to have something like this. But eventually somebody's going to say, I just want a foam pool noodle and I want to hit my friends in the park. Why are we spending $2 grand on this? This is a waste of time, a waste of money. Quit trying to inflate our organization with unnecessary bloat. That is going to happen at some point in time. So when we talk about director and officer insurance, and when we talk about buying a trailer, when we talk about becoming a 501c3 and the other things of growth that we want to do, just make sure that we cover all of our options and make people understand why it's important. So make sure we're very verbose in explaining why we need something like this, which again, I'm going on record, we need this. Is there anybody who would choose to not serve because we didn't have insurance moving forward?
Yes, I know of a couple. Not
I know of a
myself.
couple.
I think asking the question of those who want D&O insurance to serve is how much, like, what do you want the coverage limits to be? What do you expect the costs to be? And then the question is then going to be, will the populace agree that that is an appropriate limit and appropriate costs? Because if so, then we're good. Because
So-
since the BoD does not currently have independent spending authority, it's would most likely have to go through an all thing.
Yeah, so I can give you some rough ideas on that. As far as coverage limit, like really we probably just need whatever the kind of lowest level one is, right? We're not, going to be incurring tens of millions of dollars of legal fees or anything like that, most likely. So really we're just mostly looking for, somebody comes out like a defamation lawsuit or, says that we were mishandling the money or whatever. We only have $30,000 or so in our accounts. So like there just isn't enough to like really have to protect there. So I don't know what different tiers they offer, but we probably don't need, extreme tiers on this. And really it's just to be like, we want the insurance's lawyer to be the one that shows up and not like my personal lawyer or whomever's to like try and show up. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that is 100% the big thing. The reason I say for this, not as a board member, is say I'm going to use a recent action. There was the ban posted the other day. There was one at a park level and one at the kingdom level. That person gets mad and says it's defamation like it's going on with Belgrade. And I don't want to pay for an attorney to defend myself if I'm on the board of directors.
Yep. And the board of directors does have some interesting potential liabilities when you kind of look through the laws here about like, especially when it comes to bans and other things. But it could also just be like somebody submits a bid and, they use some money and the board is like, hey, we're not going to cover this expense like it wasn't an approved expense. It might be like your bid was $5,000 and they spend $8,000 and we're like, okay, we'll pay the first $5,000, but like the remaining $3,000 is on you because you went above and beyond and didn't keep costs reasonable as it says in the Kapora. And then like the person comes after us and sues us for the remaining, $3,000 plus legal fees. Like it's stuff like that we have to be cognizant of.
You said bid, and before you started talking about the non-reimbursed costs, I'm like, oh God, is there liability if you don't take somebody's bid? Like you pick somebody's bid over somebody else's bid.
Potentially.
Slap suits are illegal in California.
Yeah, but you still have to show up and respond, is what I think Royce was saying, is that like,
yeah.
Even though you can get it dismissed, that doesn't mean that you don't still have to respond and pay for the initial, however many X hours of lawyer to get it dismissed. Just means you don't have to go to full trial.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. It should be very simple. It should be like 10 hours of legal work to file the appropriate paperwork and show up on the day of whatever, and then just go, this needs to get dismissed. But, 10 hours of legal work at $250 an hour adds up pretty quickly. And that's an inexpensive lawyer, $250.
On the other hand, would it be worth, if that's primarily the thing, is would it be worth, instead of getting insurance, looking into some kind of relationship with a lawyer, being, hey, if we need you, here is X cost. Instead of contracting with an insurance, contract with a lawyer, saying,
Like
hey, we'll
retainer?
pay you X amount. If something happens, can we have your services for whatever?
That's called keeping an individual on retainer. In my opinion, I would prefer insurance, but it all depends upon cost, honestly.
I think there have been a couple other questions that have occasionally come up that would not fall under D&O insurance, but would be appreciated to have a lawyer
Oh, 100%
available
like our
to consult.
Kapora.
So how would we like to go about investigating that as well?
So right now what we have is we have a couple of attorneys as part of AmCard that have volunteered their time. Now, they have been very generous in this, but they are also very clear that they are not contract attorneys or nonprofit attorneys or anything along those lines. So they can kind of just give us here's what my professional eye kind of sees, but you should look into this more type thing. And it would be nice potentially to have, an attorney. Part of it, what we're trying to cover with this right now a little bit is if we could separate out most of the legal stuff, like, by legal, I'm talking about like California legal from the Kapora, and just leave that in the bylaws, that's covered by Nolo Press, and that takes a lot of that liability away. And then the legal, the stuff in the Kapora just becomes game rules, and game rules are game rules, right? So it's way less liability. But just kind of jumping back to the D&O insurance, there's another thing. It was very interesting when I was at Gathering of Kingdoms talking to a bunch of other kingdoms about what their boards of directors do. And it's like they authorize like every expense, they authorize everything, because it's like it is company money, and it's company, like how company does everything. And that they say it always goes through the board of directors. It's just how they've chosen to handle it. The way we in Westmarch kind of choose to handle it is because it goes through the Monarch and the PM, and the Monarch and PM are on the board of directors. They're kind of acting, they're on the behalf of the company. The Monarch is also the CEO, the PM is also the CFO, and so they have the ability to act on behalf of the company. And then that's how we kind of handle it more in Westmarch, which is a bit different. But the board of directors is supposed to be double checking and making sure we're not going crazy.
So I will reach out to Nine Blades and a couple of the other kingdoms about how they go about D&O insurance, and follow up on that. Since it appears that we would like potentially the services of a lawyer apart from being on retainer for a future lawsuit, how would we like to go about contracting the services, or contacting, for at least an initial consultation with a lawyer?
Check for volunteers in the organization first.
I
Sorry, what
would
was that?
want to go for it, Royce. You first.
I said check for people in the organization first. I know, like Westmarch. Check
Yeah,
within Westmarch.
None of the lawyers have specialties with nonprofits.
Yeah,
I
it's kind
have
of
I have a little bit of background in law, and whenever you have a friend who's a lawyer, it's guaranteed that they are not specializing in what you need them.
I know one dude who specializes in it, and I sort of know him. Yes.
Is he in Westmarch, or
No.
she, or they?
He's an SCA person.
Oh, that's a strike.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that's the one person I've ever heard of with that specialization.
That may be worth reaching out. I love cross gamers. And actually being in the SCA is probably better because I don't know of anybody in Westmarch. And SCA is a substantially similar enough organization as far as like kind of nonprofit that somebody with experience with that would be beneficial. If you could slide me that contact information, I would appreciate that.
Thank you, Royce, for continuing to be a positive influence on the BoD meetings. I'm sad to say I'm losing money because I bet against you.
That was a bad mistake. I'll find the guy's name. I will say I don't know if he still does that or anything because it's been 10+ years since I've done SCA stuff.
At the very least, if the contact information works, they can point me to someone else. Because that's the thing is that even if they're not still in it, they usually at least know somebody who is. Because trying to find a really niche lawyer in this case is kind of difficult. One of the lawyers that is a member of Westmarch did point me in the direction towards a San Diego area nonprofit that does help out with no to little charge, but we don't really meet the requirements of the kinds of nonprofits that they offer support to. Though I guess also, so take a poll again. What kind of money do we think would be acceptable to pay per year for, let's call it in general, legal fees and insurance?
10% of income.
I was going to say, I think we could get away with up to 1,000. If it was up to 750, it would be even easier. And we just say, like, this is what it's required basically to protect us, especially if it really covers us in a lot of different circumstances. It makes it even easier to get make that argument.
Yeah. My estimate was like up to 1,200 because it's a nice round number of $100 a month.
That's a good argument
Personally,
as well.
that does
If we just
seem
said
steep, but given that, we do deal with, I mean, there's like $20,000 in the bank. So that's not unreasonable.
All right. Just because I want to ask this of the individuals in the meeting, is there anybody, do a majority of the people in this meeting want to explore getting director and officer insurance, and furthermore would actually agree to paying for it potentially? Is there anybody who's like, no, I don't think we need it. I think this is a waste of money. There's no wrong answers here. We don't know all the details, but we need to know that. Is there anybody in this meeting that's like, we don't need this. This is a waste of our time and money?
I like the idea that was mentioned earlier about from our liaison that just getting some advice on this before we pursue further into it. That way we have a little bit of an educated response or informed response in this case.
Let's get an educated response before educated information so we can make an educated response before making a decision. Absolutely, Chris. Very well stated.
Going back to that, I think also, yeah, that potentially contacting a lawyer before contacting insurance may actually be good, given my presentation in the last meeting about some of the laws protecting nonprofits. The lawyer would be able to give us a statement of, I don't think you need it for X reasons, or I think you do need it to cover this, based on your expected liabilities.
For prime minister and for treasurer and for monarch, if the liaison wanted to meet with a lawyer to get a real detailed answer on this, like a qualified good lawyer, would that be something that the kingdom might want to pay for out of potentially discretionary funds?
Yep.
I think it's only appropriate.
I think the real question here is, does this constitute funds necessary for running the kingdom, or does this constitute something that needs to be voted on as an approval of an expense?
10%, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a reason this could not come out of monarch discretionary?
I think it's
Are we
necessary to
talking
run the
about
kingdom, and I sure hope it's under 10% of the budget.
Andrew, are we talking about paying for director and officer insurance or meeting with a lawyer?
I mean, meeting with a lawyer, really. Paying for director and officer insurance is a different question, but obviously it's
Yeah.
the same question, just different concept.
I would want director and officer insurance to go for an all thing personally. That's just my opinion. I am not a decision maker in any capacity. I would think discretionary funds for talking with a lawyer would be acceptable, but that's entirely up to the monarchy. Again, I'm not a decision maker.
I mean, I just want to make sure because the verbiage is to run the kingdom, not discretionary funds. So does going and talking to a lawyer count as running the kingdom? Maybe, but I mean, that's the choice we'd have to consider before making that call.
Given that information gathering is necessary prior to making a decision for the benefit of the kingdom in the future, I find information gathering to be appropriate for that purpose.
I second Vice President's word.
It's a very good point, though, Andy. We want to make sure that we're adhering to all the rules, even if our corpora is wildly out of date.
And then once we do that, we could have a lawyer saying, actually, yes, you genuinely do need to do a whole rewrite of the rules. I don't care about your apathy. This needs to get changed.
Yeah, that would be nice. That is going to go back to people potentially chirping about, hey, this is my foam meet friends in the park thing. Why are we doing all this lawyer stuff? But obviously we'll...
The answer is we do all this lawyer stuff so you can continue to go swing foam and meet friends in the park. It's that simple.
Everybody that attends the meeting that does that does it so those people can just go out and meet friends in the park and spend and swing.
Yes.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I did this. I've done this game for a long time. My first Amcard meetup was in the 90s, and there were people doing what I'm doing now, and it's a great way to give back. And I hope that other people who recognize what the BoD does choose to run in 2025 and give back, because we do important stuff here. All right. Is there anything else we want to discuss about director and officer insurance? I'm not trying to close this agenda, but I feel like we have come to a point where the question should be asked.
I do appreciate more questions, because then that can help guide my search into this. So either now or later, message me, because if that's what people want and that'll help engage volunteers, then let's do it, especially since there's a chance that half of the current BoD may be serving on a Dragonvale BoD come January.
There needs to be succession planning. Only 2 of you that are going to Dragonvale BoD can go. The other 2 have to stay.
Subject to approval by the election.
Is there actually a requirement that the Dragonville BoD can't also serve on the Westmarch BoD?
I am very confident in saying that that is absolutely a conflict of interest.
At this point in time, it is part of the Westmarch corpora that you cannot serve in 2 different positions.
Well, 2 different monarchy positions. BoD is not a monarchy position. Otherwise, I couldn't be on the BoD because I'm the monarch of Shariata.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, hence why I said it's not a corpora thing. It's I think that constitutes a conflict of interest.
It only buys us another year or 2, but yes.
Let me filch funds.
Please no. Then we'll need that insurance.
I've never asked for money. That's not true. I definitely pushed for spending $5,000 on a trip. So I am very responsible for spending lots of money. I think it's well worth it.
Oh, yes, I agree.
I'll stand behind that.
Okay. But I do agree. I think we've probably reached as far as we're going to get in this meeting about this topic.
I motion to table this for next meeting.
Second.
Third.
Quadruple.
That was actually, and what we've done on many topics is we haven't talked about something for a month and saying, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to spend money. We talked for months about spending $99 a year for a post office box. So I like that we're taking stuff like this seriously and really talking it out. I think that's the right way to do it. Slow and steady, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Topic number 6. This one is something that I have been trying to do for months. On my work calendar, every 3 days, I hit snooze. And I've been hitting snooze for months. I think it's a good idea. This is not my idea. Somebody else brought this up. I think they brought it up at Dark Shore. That's how long I've been snoozing it. An incident form, a form that could be filled out online, anonymously or not anonymously, that would send the response to the Westmarch Gmail saying, hey, there was an incident. And it can be filled out on mobile. It can be filled out on a computer. What happened, where, who, why, what, how, all that stuff. Just an automated online form. I've been trying to create it for months now, and I haven't been able to get to it. Is there anybody that would like to do that for me? Because I'm just not finding the time, and I'm sorry. If nobody wants to do it, I'll eventually get it.
Is this essentially for like complaints or something, COC violations, things like that?
It can be, but it's more for incidents. Like, I want to report that somebody got hit, somebody's car got hit, just logging information details that could come back to eventually bite us.
So if I remember, this came out of is this the Once Upon a Time thing where there was an incident happened at Once Upon a Time. They had their security grab all of the people who were in the immediate area and fill out a document saying, this is what I saw. Right. It was immediate. Right.
Yes.
And it was very helpful later in the investigation because we just had like 5 firsthand witnesses and what they saw within 5 minutes, like written down. So nothing changed their mind or they didn't, misremember something. It was just like firsthand accounts immediately. It was very helpful later in the investigation. So
yeah,
honestly, you could probably use the Once Upon a Time template as like a basis for it, and then just make a version of it. And then I'd also recommend event autocrats keeping like their security team should print out 30 copies of this and bring it with them to the event.
Yeah, is this something we want on paper or like a Google form that goes to the Gmail?
Both.
I don't have access to the Westmarch Gmail, so I can't create the folder without a Monarchy members of the help, and I just haven't been able to get to it. So I think it's important, but it is not mandatory in any capacity.
I could essentially create both. I can volunteer for that.
Thank you. Please do not feel obligated to complete it, but if you'd like to work on it, I will happily help. I haven't been able to get to it independently.
I have some experience in this area, so I can work on that.
Amazing.
I will try to get it done before fog, and I'll send Alan a copy of it once it's done.
I just sent you a free template I found too.
You're awesome. Yeah, that's sick, actually. We can do something. We can pretty much copy and paste that stuff, put a Westmarch symbol on it, and be like, boom, done.
Yeah, I'll give space on this template for, incident description. Okay, yeah, I like some of the lower ones a little bit better.
Yeah, we can add stuff about like where it happened and stuff. Oh yeah, locations in there, yeah.
Yeah, and I can point you to the folder for the incident forms I'm thinking of. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it here in this meeting with everybody else.
Right, yeah. We can talk about it later, yeah.
Yep.
What I want is somebody to be able to go to the CA AmpGuard site or somewhere similar and fill out an incident report if they wish, anonymously or at the request of security, stewards, Monarchy, whatever. And it goes somewhere like the Westmarch inbox, easily clatable. Thank you, Royce. This is perfect. Elizabeth, thank you so much for working on this. I'm going to not snooze that anymore. And I apologize that I haven't been able to get to it. It's a
nothing to apologize for.
You just turned that into a Google form now.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to pause here before we go to option 7. Motion to move past option 6.
Second.
Third.
Wonderful. Before we move to option 7, I'm going to open up the floor. Does anybody want to say anything? Is there a topic we'd like to talk about now? We are at an hour and a half into the meeting, so it hasn't been too long of a meeting. Is there anything else we want to discuss at this point in time that is pressing?
Not pressing, but it's come up a bunch of times lately about a food trailer when looking at sites.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
let's talk about that. So the topic in question kind of is like a food cooking top. Some way we can get, like a 6-burner stove or something like that. People have posted military vehicles that do this for forward operating bases, or just, buying a food truck, things like this. I actually reached out to a couple of people about 6 months ago about this topic, just trying to get rough ideas. So the problem with the food truck is food trucks are significantly more expensive than the trailer we have, like $30,000 to $80,000, type thing. So like would wipe us out. Unless we bought like a super beat down one and then like built it up, and then we just spend the same amount of money like buying new kitchen tops. So that really didn't come to an option. We did look at other ones, like large cooking things, things that are designed to serve 200 people in a meal. The one that kind of pops up immediately are like military food trailers that can run on like diesel or propane. I was told avoid diesel. It taints all of your food to taste like diesel. Make sure that it's propane and that it's always been used as propane. Otherwise, you're doing work. The other thing is, especially for military, but just kind of these cooking trailers in general, is the maintenance costs on them are pretty significant, especially if you're only using it twice a year, right? So our kind of usage is we use it for 4 days, we put it in storage for 6 months, and then we use it for 4 days, and then we put it in storage for 6 months. And what ends up happening is just like the various parts of it break down.
I have an idea. After you're done, I just have an idea.
So what it came down to is they were estimating that it was going to be either we had a lot of people, because like in the military, right, they have a whole platoon, and like that's what they do all day is maintain trailers. So we'd be spending a lot of manpower just like pulling parts out, and obviously we'd have to buy all the parts, or we'd be taking into like a shop to do the repair. Either way, we'd be spending hundreds to potentially like $1,000 almost every event pretty quickly. Maybe not be like in the first year or so, but like pretty quickly we'd be getting into it of just like spending hundreds of dollars every year just to maintain this trailer. And that's not even counting the fuel, like shipping propane tanks and everything else with the trailer to use for the cooking.
There's also the issue of storage. There's something about storing a enclosed utility trailer, but storing a food trailer is not only going to take up more space, it can potentially be hazardous in terms of leakage, so to speak, but also it's going to attract vermin. A buddy of mine down the street works for a nonprofit organization, and he stores a food trailer in his yard. And I have been in that food trailer before, helping him repair things that just go bad over time. And when you have grease, you don't clean it properly, you're going to get animals and vermin. I'm not saying we shouldn't get a food trailer, but I am saying that if an event is profitable and we find a good site that doesn't give us the problem San Lorenzo gives us, that's my preference. But I'm not against a food trailer. I'd love to have a food trailer. I personally would love to have a food trailer because I would use it with all my friends.
You can buy one on Amazon for cheap.
A food trailer. How much is a food trailer at Amazon?
I think I saw one for 14 grand the other day.
And that's not cheap.
That's relatively cheap when you talk about food trailers and trucks, though.
Is it also foldable?
Yeah, so you can get the smaller like tow behind trailers, but that's not going to be able to serve 200 meals.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, yeah, if you go to Amazon and you look, there's like a 4 foot by 6 foot food trailer. And then you're like, cool, how do you make 150 or 200 meals in a 2 or 3 hour period and then turn around and then do dinner? Like, that's the problem. It's like, you're going to need like the full taco truck. And even that might not be able to do it. Like, you're going to be serving, 200 to 300 tacos.
You do it the luau style, where instead you dig a pit and you roast the whole pig.
Okay, well, that's not on our event site search committee of can we dig a fire pit? We haven't looked at those types of sites.
You don't gotta dig a fire pit. You bring cinder bricks with you.
Yeah,
there
we go.
Sciences.
Yeah. So
Hey, we can just bring all these trailer concerns to the people who are mad we haven't bought one yet.
So here's a stupid question. Is there anywhere that rents these kind of trailers?
Yes. Yes, there is. I posted
there
a
is.
link on Westmarch. It's $169 a day out of the Bay Area.
Wait,
That's not
what?
bad.
What?
Oh yeah, lots of them. There's actually got quite a few competitors.
So $169 a day. That would be significantly more affordable than the Dianza building, which
So what I
is a
can
ripoff.
when I
But
did
that,
go
yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
But if you add that up, so just for easy math, let's call it $500 for fog. That would represent.
6.
Cool.
Well, that's
$600.
assuming that one trailer can feed everybody.
It
But
can.
yes.
They're rated for 600 people per meal.
Really?
Cool.
I
So-
recommend that if we want to do a trailer like that, we test run it on a smaller event like a mid-rain.
Let me get
The
it.
Dianza building
because then that would
has
be a 1
one
day.
stove and one hot plate and one refrigerator, and we cooked 3 meals a day for 170 people.
That is true.
You can also, from the same place that I found the food trailer rental for, you can rent refrigerators and I think bathrooms.
Full
Yeah, I just-
showers
That's worth looking
actually.
into.
Shower
You can get
trailers
shower
are the
trailers.
best.
Because that would quite open up our venue options. But regarding specifically the food trailer, so
$100.
let's call it $600 a meeting or an event.
Yep, that's the one I'm talking
Depending
about.
on the
one-
kind of trailer that we're looking for, I know that, like, for example, some of the ones that Rourke had posted, it found some for the $6,000 range, and so that would represent 10 events. And it would be something that we own versus something that we rent. So I know that if we bring up the idea of renting, which in this case does sound like a better deal, know that that is going to be the response from the populace.
I had this argument on Facebook already.
Yeah, I read it, and the big thing that everybody keeps ignoring is, yes, it's a 5-year ROI excluding maintenance.
So this trailer here that Milan's got up, it's $169 a day plus $55 for one of the campsites to have the electrical, water, and sewage hookup. So you end up saving about a little under $400 a day on the Dianza building. Where it would come into question is if we get a price break on the youth camping area because we use the Dianza building.
The Dianza building doesn't have that much power.
That is true. And one of the burners, the oven for Darkshore was actually broken, and it was the second event, like Fog and Darkshore, the oven was broken in the Dianza building. And the
And
bathroom.
I'm pretty sure you
Well,
can just assume the fridges don't work and be safe.
So that same website rents refrigerators too.
Yeah, so the one problem I'm seeing here is, so the power is a 50 amp 208 220.
The campsites have, I think the full ones have 50 amp.
Oh, you're talking about, oh, I see what you're saying. If we go
That's
to
why
like
it's
the
an
RV
extra
hookup
50.
sites.
Yes, that's why it's an extra $50 a day,
Gotcha,
$55 a day.
Because
They
we
have-
have to.
They have fridges in these trucks.
That was
Yes.
going to be my question.
You
If
can
you
look
need
through
a-
the photos. It has 3 of them.
If you need a bigger fridge, they also rent a 7-foot fridge trailer.
Oh wait, that's 2 fridges and a freezer. We
Yes.
haven't had a freezer.
PM, since I don't think our Monarch will be around long enough to see this through.
Wow.
I'm
if
running
you
for
wouldn't
GMR.
That's okay. But you wouldn't be in charge of bids anyway. When it comes time to approving the bid for Darkshore, I think slipping this to the autocrat and saying, how about we just not reserve the Dianza building?
So
how about we just not?
I
and we
actually
just use
do
the patio?
select the bid for Darkshore.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure
Because
if
it's
anybody had,
selected
like,
6 months in advance.
submitted. It doesn't mean
The
it gets
summer
submitted
monarchy.
6 months in advance.
Well, I mean, as the person who was going on for the only known bid of Feastocrat for Darkshore, I'm certainly open to it, and I can talk to the autocrat.
The
I
other
was just
cost
going
with
to
this
message
is
the
propane.
autocrat, Athena. Do you want to message her instead?
Doing
I
so
already
right
did.
now.
Okay.
you.
You got it. We can
Cool.
both do it.
I wasn't positive
Perfect.
we actually had somebody lined up.
We have one
Yeah, we
person
do.
who is talked to me several times about submitting a bid. If somebody else is doing stuff, somebody else did grab me at one point, but I don't think it ever materialized. I haven't heard anything from them since. So
I have been working on the bid this entire meeting.
And to be honest, that trailer looks like it might actually be bigger than the Deanza kitchen.
It looks
It's fully
way
priced.
nicer.
The problem,
And cleaner.
the one problem with this versus not getting the Deanza building, because I talked about this with people at my park who have been the Feastocrat and stuff, is that the Deanza building people go into to do arts and crafts and things like that to get out of the ring. So we'd have to figure out some way to compensate, essentially.
The other thing is that I believe, and James, you probably might know this better than I do, or anybody else. What we actually pay for if you go to the County of Monterey is just the Deanza building. We actually get the field for free.
It
Oh.
also counts for the picnic area as well for the Deanza building, so people wouldn't be
Yes.
able to use the picnic grounds if we didn't
Oh
get
no,
it.
we just happened to walk onto the picnic area. Nobody else was
Well,
using
there's
it.
plenty of picnic areas there that are non-reservable.
Kind of. There's like a gazebo and there's like a handful of benches, but that like semi-covered picnic area is all considered part of the Deanza building.
No, I meant further down, like past the Deanza building in the bathrooms, there's a picnic area. It doesn't have near as many tables or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only problem is people having feast and stuff. It wouldn't be the same feast like we normally have. People
Yeah.
wouldn't be sitting all together and stuff, and we'd have to hold court somewhere else. So that's all.
Well, I'm
Uh,
actually, I
and I
mean, the
s-
thing is, I'm actually not sure about that because the rental of the Deanza building may just get us the key to the door.
I remember
And-
when Drenth was doing autocrat stuff for Fog, we had to do the Deanza building to get the picnic area.
Okay.
Athena can probably correct me if I'm wrong because she's had more recent interactions, but that's what I thought anyway.
That's not information I'm privy to right now because I haven't been doing
Okay.
the Monterey Bay coordination. Just feast stuff.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're all right.
One idea
Okay.
with this is to introduce this to the entire kingdom. Is let's say for the one big feast date for court, the one big feast, whatever, we rent this for that one day. Have food sufficient to convince everybody, hey, look at how much better food we can make with this trailer instead of the Deanza building. Let's ditch the San Lorenzo Park altogether because then we don't have to pay for this Deanza building that clearly gives us nothing.
Yeah, I mean, what's nice about this is I didn't realize these were so affordable to rent per day. It just adds a few additional requirements to, you're running my event site search committee, which I appreciate, which is just that like we do have to make sure basically that there are RV hookups available for, power and fresh water and stuff like that. Because, a 3/4 inch fresh water line is basically a garden hose.
It is a garden hose.
Yeah. And then we need a waste drain line. So again, RV hookup
hookup
type thing. So
Which
Does
I
it
think is
not
a
have
lot
tanks?
lower requirement than what we've
I
essentially
love
been
this.
putting on.
I love this kitchen trailer to be used at a site other than San Lorenzo Park.
So
I think doing a trial run for a smaller event is still a wise idea.
So it
Agreed.
sounds like you need to talk with Deimos about where mid-range is going to be.
it sounds like we should talk with Chris, who is planning to run a bunch of dungeons coming up, and ask if they want to be catered.
Woo! Dungeons.
Hey, Wyvern
the
Spur has a
team.
big active population and a lot of money in our funds, so we could always put on our own event. Maybe have the kingdom chip in some funds to rent something like this.
Yeah,
Let's
especially
make
if
it
we get like
happen.
a Wyvern Spur or something, mid-range.
Why doesn't Westmarch do a Yuletide feast?
Because that doesn't keep in the L5R rain. I have no idea. December is by far and away, if you look at our annual year-over-year, just like December is our least active month. Especially the last half of December, we get like 30 people signing in as compared to like every other park day is like 300 people a weekend.
It's also wet.
But not inside the trailer.
Ha.
Yeah, everybody
Bell,
climb on
Westmarch.
in.
But yes, I think this is a really good idea. I do agree with Athena. It would be nice to trial run this at some smaller event just to make sure. But we've also messaged the potential autocrat for the next event, and we'll figure this all out.
Because
I
if
think-
it's that's so much more affordable than the Deanza building that doesn't do half the things this trailer does.
At this phase, I have a feeling that pivoting so hard is extremely unlikely for Dark Shore, given that the bid is due in 2 days. And we also would have to calculate out the, oh, well, what do we do in place of a picnic area and any AC and any activities that they had planned indoors? So it's quite a wrench to throw in at this phase. But I'm aware of a
Hey,
bid
it's
for
not like
next
Monterey
fog.
is gonna do
Well,
anything
hold
with
on,
it in the next
because I
5
actually
months.
just had this conversation with the Dark Shore Autocrat because I was mentioning to them all these problems we've been having with San Lorenzo. And weird thing about our current Capora, which is once the bid's accepted, it actually doesn't say you have to follow the bid price, location, or anything, as long as you keep within a reasonable price range, which it defines as the money in the account, basically.
Fair enough.
So the website says there's a grove that seats 200 people you can rent at San Lorenzo.
Where?
Isn't
don't
that the
know.
giant gazebo?
No, the gazebo seats 150, which still doable and has electricity.
That gazebo is not large enough for 150 people. You could do like 40.
It says max 150.
I guess
That's
standing?
the 4 people on each side of the thing, everybody smushing together
Then
like they love
again-
each other.
That's like the choir seating right there. Everybody's standing singing.
Indoor and outdoor, it says De Anza can fit 400 people.
We could potentially rent one of the museum buildings for like an indoor court type thing.
Yes, the one with the thresher.
I mean, I'm here for it. Let's go look at really cool old equipment. I've never actually gone into any of these buildings all of the times I've gone there.
Yeah.
I would love to play hardball with the Monterey Parks Department in some way and saying, no, we're not renting the De Anza building. Not worth it.
Yeah, hey, we we're exploring other pricing options, and given the previous concerns, we have found ways to correct those. So we will no longer be renting this building. However, for one single night, we might rent another one. And then we'll see if that's interesting to them, because we are going to be, I have a feeling that us and other LARP groups, especially if we start spreading the word about this stuff, are a major income source for them. So if we start cutting that out, hey, how about you fix your facilities?
I hate to be a negative Nancy, but it's my experience that Rangers as a group are very lazy and uncoordinated individuals.
Yeah, but they're not responsible for the maintenance of the park. The Parks Department is
They-
responsible for the maintenance of the park.
They are responsible for the maintenance part. That's literally their job. That and
Okay.
security.
So I think we've covered just about everything, I think, at this point on this topic. Right? Unless anybody else has anything else to kind of add on this.
I would make sure in the notes that we document the interest in the trailer rentals. I just don't see that on there so far. And given that that was a dominant part of the conversation of high interest, I would love it to be included. Thank you very much.
Got the website recorded too.
Oh,
would be
okay.
good.
So the Grove is the area right when you drive in across the way.
Hmm.
So like if you're pulling into where we normally go, it would be that open area on the right side.
That's quite a walk for campers.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, at Gathering of Kingdoms, the battlefield and the feast hall was about a mile apart. So
Jeez.
up and down hills at 7,000 feet of elevation. It was fun.
I know that the one gigantic building that's like nearby the like mock train station or whatever is something you can rent, and it's very large. I have a feeling we could fit a lot of people in there.
I think even shaking it up just a little would be enough to get the kingdom going, because everybody's just like, oh, we've always done it this way.
Athena, can you pass on to the potential Dark Shore steward and ask them if they are interested in attending the November BoD meeting to potentially discuss kitchen trailers?
You got it.
Thank you so much for that. I think it's important to put on record that I'm sure multiple people have brought it up, but the one name that comes to mind is Rourke. Rourke absolutely has been pushing aggressively for us to look into the kitchen trailer. From what I've seen here, man, that rental looks like it could potentially save us money and open up some opportunities. So thank you, Rourke, for being a mouthpiece for that.
It's too bad that there's no Westmarch member that goes and buys a trailer and then rents it out to Westmarch among other customers.
Yeah, I've just got this like $50,000 burning a hole in my pocket.
That's why I play Amcard.
Business
Because I'm
opportunities
so
are business
well off.
opportunities.
I know some guys in Belagarth that are seriously looking at buying some land and saying this is going to be the LARP place for California.
They just need to not wait 5 years without making improvements on it.
Let's see what we got here. Royce
So,
keeps posting
all right.
things. Hey, here we
motion
go.
to table this meeting for next time, or table this the discussion.
Not
That's
yet.
not a terrible price.
Not yet. We need this hot pink.
This thing is like tiny.
But consider the Barbie trailer.
Can I veto that color, please?
It can be painted.
That
It's
still
not
looks
pink,
like it's probably
just
better
light
than the
red.
Deanza kitchen.
Cotton candy.
I don't want an Amazon box showing up to be a kitchen trailer. I just
Oh
don't.
God, how do you unpack that?
Look at the inside. So stainless steel.
The
solid.
shipping would
hot
be
right now.
so expensive.
Free
Well, now I'm
delivery.
disappointed
It's
that
actually
the
got free
inside's not hot
delivery.
pink.
Yeah, it's got free delivery. It just doesn't come till December or January.
Hmm.
Stainless
Oh, it comes with
steel.
LED lights, though. I'm sold.
Oh
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, it actually has a whole color palette we can choose.
Thank goodness.
So we can make the inside hot pink too. Great.
Yep.
Second
Tell you
most
what,
hot pink colors.
shipping costs fluctuate wildly.
I mean,
I'm sure this is very
true.
safe, very legal, especially with these 0 responses. Visit the generic store.
Yeah, I'm also confused because like one of their photos is this like product on the pages are trailers without additional equipment. So I'm like, what does that mean?
Let's
Anyways.
visit the generic store and find out. Mobile food trailer, realizing your sales dream.
Okay.
I wish we had verified reviews.
We don't, especially since this one is 12 grand.
I mean, there's one down there that's 40 grand.
Oh, good.
Same place also sells a $300 microwave, so
I have a feeling that 6000s ones have no actual kitchen equipment in them. It's just the base.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say that almost every restaurant in existence doesn't sell their spare equipment because they don't want to be charged tax on it, but just say.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places we can get secondhand equipment. But again, it's like buying all of that, putting it in the trailer, making sure it's hooked up, making sure it's like permitted or whatever. Like it's just a whole lot of extra.
It's just way cheaper to buy a giant canvas tent that can hold court and a small kitchen in it and make a portable kitchen out of things like camp stoves.
I actually looked into a giant, like one of those giant circus tents because I thought it would be a good idea potentially to have battle games so we would always have shade.
Yeah.
But they are also in the like $30,000 to $50,000 range if you want a big one big enough to have a battle game in. And they're like custom made in Europe and sent to you. Yeah.
Now there's a difference between shade and water protection.
Well,
Shade
this was, I
probably
looked at this a couple of years ago after a particularly hot fog, Feast of Gods, where we just like
Last year
battle
was
gamed.
bad.
It was like 90 the whole weekend. It was terrible. So,
Yeah, sounds like
okay.
last year.
Yeah.
You're not making
Has
me
anybody
look
actually
forward
looked
to
at the
my
weather
first
yet
fog.
for King City? We're 2 weeks
Yes,
out.
it actually looks nice.
It was last year. We hit 105.
Yeah.
Anything else regarding this before we move on?
Nope, I think we're good.
It's still going to be like 85 that weekend. Okay.
Yeah, but right now
Oh,
it's
boo
70 there.
hoo.
It's 70 there. It's going to be 68 on the 18th. It looks like it's going to be nice.
If it's
I've
not,
got
I'm
it
just
supposed
gonna
to
stay in my hotel
80 on
room.
the 18th, but okay. We'll figure it out when
Anyways.
we get there.
Motion to table kitchen trailer to November.
Second.
Please do.
Seconded.
Simple.
Does the kitchen tailor have a table?
Ah,
It
Uh-huh.
could for an extra $300.
Ha 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 ha.
let's decide when we're meeting next.
Okay, so
All
I get
good.
fired from my job on the 10th. So anytime
I-
after that, we'll be with our new monarchy.
That probably
Well-
makes sense, to be honest.
Ethan, you've done a hell of a job as Monarch. I genuinely mean that. I really appreciate all your effort. I know how much work you put in during the week, and it's admirable to say the least. Thank you for being so detailed, being so organized, and really helping Westmarch grow as it has. Here, applause all around.
Here, here.
Thank you. I will say one thing as Monarch is you always see the bad things that are happening. So actually having people say like, hey, stuff's going well. It's like, okay, cool, thanks. Everything's not terrible.
No, it really is, and that's not me trying to be nice or anything like that. You genuinely have done a wonderful job, and it's noticeable, and people talk about it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good. Okay.
many-
Athena, you first. I'm so sorry.
No, it was nothing important. I was just going to ask how many crowns he has.
Enough.
I think I just got my, was it my 6th? Went for running as
Oh,
champion.
that's disappointing.
Seems like the next person might need to do one of those 2-stack type of awards or something.
Well, the
I'll-
6th
I'll-
got me up from my 3rd. So
I'll help fix that.
All right.
Scheduling.
Today is October 9th. Ethan, would you have a specific interest in being part of the November BoD meeting? Is there business you would like to be involved in specifically, or at this moment are you kind of like, I don't care?
The only things obviously would be like the Feast of Gods like closeout, but that they actually have 45 days to do that, so that won't be until the December meeting. Anyways, so as a result, I really kind of have nothing else that I need to handle, I believe, at this time.
All right. Well, that is really going to open up the schedule then, because we were probably going to be looking at November 6th or 7th at that point in time. I do not personally see any major Westmarch events in November. I could be wrong. Please tell me if I am.
Coronation is on the 10th.
Yes,
I believe it's the
but
10th. Yeah.
yeah, I don't see a lot of travel on the 6th, 13th, 20th, or the 7th, 14th, 21st, or the 5th, 12th, and 19th.
The 28th is Thanksgiving. So I would recommend, let's say, November 20th, since we like our Wednesday meetings. And then that gives the new monarch more than 4 days
to figure what's going on.
It gives the new monarch a week and a half to be aware. Oh yes, you need to be at this meeting.
I mean, that works perfectly fine for me, but I
am hearing no opposition to the 20th.
Oh, I
Woo,
muted
20th.
myself. Yeah, that works for me.
November 20th at 6:30.
Works for me.
Aye, aye.
Just a quick check. Which day is Thanksgiving? Is it the
The
28th?
28th.
Okay,
So this would be a week before Thanksgiving.
that's probably fine.
Do you mean the 20th instead of the 30th?
He does.
Okay.
Oh, did I?
Milan's just having a hard time writing.
Oh
No,
my
it's the 40th.
goodness.
Milan, the other way, subtract 10. 2nd grade school. We believe
I
in you.
shouldn't have said anything.
Oh,
Multiply
okay,
by
close enough.
3.
The negative 10th. Multiply by 3, that's the negative 30th.
That's approximately now?
Okay, guys, let's
Yeah.
have the November meeting after this.
Motion for meeting after this.
I actually have another meeting after this, so
Oh
Oh
no.
man.
yeah.
Woof.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna be up until like 1 a.m. trying to get all this feast stuff done.
Everybody, thank you for all the work that you do. Seriously, it's not thanked, it's not paid, it's not appreciated. I see the work that you guys do. I get to go to I get to go to Dark Shore. I get to go to my local park and hit people with foam sticks legally. And it's because of the work you guys do, and it's not appreciated enough. And I'm very thankful that you guys are all here. Especially, Athena started off this year as an alternate and is now the vice president. And when she was an alternate, she still chose to be here and be vocal and offer to volunteer in meetings. And Chris is always working during the meetings, and he still is here, and he's still vocal and paying attention. I appreciate that. For some reason, Frankie still attends. Just for funsies. Jody, yeah, Jody shows up. It's really great. I mean, the population, the population of these BoD meetings. You can go back and look at the videos, and it's like 6 or 7 people, and we constantly just have a full house. That's because we give away free credits. Let's not lie, but still,
and it can now be any credit.
That's right. That's right. Elizabeth, deal with it.
Yay!
Drop your credit in the chat.
Yeah, good idea.
Probably with your game name, so that way Elizabeth can
I just realized that.
Yeah, can I
you probably want
please
name
have
part
game
credit.
names? Because trying to do last month's was just a pain in the you-know-what, please.
Yeah, everybody update your orc so your real name is listed as well. Help us out.
I know, right? Oh, and also before
I thought they were always supposed to be in there. What?
It's not required.
Maybe
I just
hire profiles that's just your game name and only use those.
I just realized my real name wasn't on my orc yesterday, so
Well,
I
now
just
I gotta
fixed
double
it.
check.
Dagger,
Also,
you're saying
please,
that your
before your
name Dagger isn't on your birth certificate?
I don't know. It's from Texas.
And before your password expires for the orc, put your email in it so that you can use that to recover your password.
Yes.
Pro tip. That's like half of the posts on the orc help.
What I always do if I'm a PM and I'm like setting up somebody's org profile is I use our park's email if I don't have your email, so that way when it resets it, I at least can help you.
So, totally unrelated to the meeting. One of my park members just gave me feedback because I told them all to go do the survey. And they said maybe next time don't put a neutral option, put a skip option instead, so you don't get people saying, I don't care about this. That doesn't help the conversation.
There is a...
He was saying instead of a neutral, put a...
Yes.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Hang on. I'll just put
we went around and around on that, Dagger and myself and a few others, about how to word that exactly. Because it was like, not applicable, skip, or you just kind of came down to, I don't really care about this.
I'm motion to close this meeting.
Yes.
All right. I am going to
Cool. You can stop recording.
All right, we're going to stop recording right now. 3, 2, 1. I love you all.